Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us today for our November session of Mindfulness with Mick. We have Lori Gilbertson of Tribeca Blue Consulting with us here today. I am here, Miranda Vieira, on behalf of LawBank, and then we have our meditation guide, coach, guru, Mick Neustadt here as well to help us just kind of get through a little bit of what the next couple of months look like with the holidays, trying to find some peace. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lori. Anything to say or announce?
No, just to say welcome to everyone as we go into this holiday season with all of the super fun, yet also what can be, especially as small business owners and law firm owners, a very stressful time of year. So I'm thrilled that Mick is here to help guide us through some Zen today and also some great guidance to take us through the next few months. For those of you who have been here with us in our series over the past few months, you are very familiar with Mick, with his calming voice and his way to guide us to some Zen and some peace, what I like to refer to as some Zen on Zoom. And Mick hates that, but I'll say it anyways. Just a brief introduction. Mick is a mindfulness expert and trainer. He's also a licensed psychotherapist who works with, among other patients, law students in Washington, D.C. So he is very familiar with lawyers and the kind of stresses that lawyers face in their lives and their businesses. So I'm going to turn this over to Mick. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Laurie and Miranda. And as they said, this session is being recorded live. It's November 16th, 15th. Yeah, so we're right at the, right on the heels of the holiday season and the end of the year. And with that, can come joy and gatherings, but also a lot of stress, both stress around time with family and stress around taking time off. I've spoken with several people this week who were talking about the challenge of like stepping back from work this time of year, both with like the end of the year coming up and like, oh, do I have the time to take off? So holding those challenges, and a lot of it is around our emotions, and how we handle our emotions and when we're pulled in different directions. So we'll do a short meditation on that today and maybe talk for 2 or 3 minutes after this session too about ways that you can try to manage emotions, notice emotions at this time of year. So our meditation practice today, if you haven't joined us before, and as a reminder if you have, it's just a practice of turning from the outward to the inward. So throughout most of the day, we can be consumed and pulled by our computer, our work, people around us, things that we would rather be doing. So our attention can often be going in different directions. So we take this time to just turn our attention inward, and kind of like taking a day off or a couple of days off, the time that you give yourself to rest and to pause will give you more energy for the things that are on your mind, So that pause is so needed, both in these small increments like we're going to do today, and even giving yourself permission to take a day off, several days off, especially around the holiday coming up. So all you need to do is just find a comfortable posture that's upright. So the spine is straight, upright, but not uptight. And you can do this practice with your eyes open or eyes closed. So if you do have your eyes open, just have them about halfway, slightly open, and pick a spot in front of you to hold your eyes on that spot. And remembering that as we do this, you do not and are not expected, and don't try to clear your mind of thoughts. We're just pausing to enter into a space where we can notice thoughts and feelings without having to change or push them down or push them away. So we'll start with 3 sounds of the bell to transition into our practice together. The sounds of the bell serve as a wake-up call to bring your attention into the present moment, to start to turn inward. So just beginning by noticing the space around you, perhaps the sense of light in the room coming in through the window or from the lights in the room. Letting your attention move closer in to your body to feel the area right around your body, around the edges of your body. So, from the outside of your arms and legs, expanding out, 6 to 12 inches. Tuning into the feeling and temperature of the air on your skin, on the skin of your fingers and hands, your neck and face. And coming all the way in to feel your body in your chair, in your seat, feeling those points of contact of your upper back and lower back touching the chair behind you. Solid sense of your lower body in contact with the chair beneath you. The weight of your legs. Knowing that the mind may continue to go during this practice, especially in the first few minutes. And we can notice that and bring your attention and your energy from the mind all the way down to the ground, to press your feet firmly in the ground, to wiggle your toes, feeling that solidity, that stability. And we can do one more brief scan throughout the body. Paying attention to the body helps to relax tension, and then the mind will start to settle down. So starting up at the face again, just to check in with sensations in the face, just tuning into the jaw to notice if you're holding tension in the jaw. And you can gently unhinge. Aware of the eyes, the eyelids, and even if your eyes are open, appreciating this time of rest for the eyes, nothing to read, nothing to see. Give the eyes a rest. Allow the forehead and scalp to release and soften. And just moving down the body to the back of the neck, shoulders. You can even roll the shoulders back and down if that feels good to you. And just following your attention all the way down the arms to the hands. And just let the hands rest. Feeling sensation of the fingers, of skin touching skin, or skin against fabric. And from the hands, you can move right to the belly, right to the abdomen. To bring an open attention to the front of the body and the abdomen. To notice how it feels to breathe. Something that's always happening, we don't pay attention to. And just feeling the movement of your abdomen as you breathe in and breathe out. Just allowing this part of the body to be soft, to receive and release each breath. So when the mind wanders a lot or is caught in excessive thought, repetitive thought, you can bring your attention to your breathing, to your belly, to reset, to take a short pause, even if it's only for 2 or 3 breaths. If the mind starts getting agitated, you can also bring your attention down to your feet on the ground before something moves from mind to tongue to mouth, taking that energy down as you did before to press your feet in the ground, to pause, to consider what the next right thing to do or say will be. So keeping your attention on either your feet on the ground, your body in the chair, or your breath, just sit for a few moments, holding attention on one of these home bases, one of these anchors. And if you'd like, you can bring up an emotion that you've been working with, or some kind of challenge that you've been working with at work or in a relationship, and bring up something that's maybe 6 or 7 out of 10, not the hottest, most troubling issue that you just got off the phone talking about 5 minutes ago. So something that's not on fire right now. And just sitting, breathing, allowing this feeling, this emotion, or this challenge to arise. Notice if it has a name. Is it anger, frustration, confusion? We're just clearing the space for what wants to be seen to come up into your consciousness. Any other words that come up? And now noticing what you're feeling in your body as you allow this emotion or this challenge to arise. You can check in the face. What are you feeling in the face? Shoulders and chest. Is there a feeling in the stomach and the gut? So keeping this challenge, this emotion, whether it comes in the form of images or words, keeping it fresh in your mind and noticing, where do you feel that in the body? And continuing to stay with the breathing as you feel that. No need to change anything. You might even imagine taking a step back from this emotion or this challenge to get a wider view of things. You're widening the lens of the picture, zooming out, and just allowing it to be as it is. No fixing needed right now. So you have the feeling. Don't worry about it, looking for it, or whether it's wrong or right, whatever you feel, however slight or extreme, that's it. You have the feeling, you have the emotion or the challenge. And you might ask this emotion, this challenge, asking yourself, what does this need right now from me? What does this need from me right now? This anger that's coming up about this thing that I'm involved with, what does it need from me right now? What is it wanting? And continue with this practice of opening for an answer to come up. It's different than how we often solve things with a list or intellectual thinking. Just experimenting with allowing your inner wisdom to be voiced. What is this wanting from me right now? What does it need? and letting whatever answer, whatever wisdom came up, allowing that to float away. Allowing the problem or the words also to float from the mind's eye. If you want, you can even say a thank you to your emotion or to the challenge that came up to be seen today to get some attention. And just let, let that be released. And just spend 1 or 2 minutes here coming back to connect with the breath, coming back to connect with the body in the chair, the feet on the ground. So just 1 to 2 minutes of nothing to do. Nothing to do, but just sit still in that wider place that's beyond thoughts and problems and activities. Part of what we did, we started with the pausing, just coming back to somewhere to place the mind, placing our mind on the breath, placing our mind on the feet on the ground, the body in the chair. These are neutral objects, when the mind, give the mind something to focus on rather than thoughts, to try to pause, still the body, still the mind a little bit. And something really simple that you can do, like at your desk by just pushing the computer away. If you have a movable desk or moving the chair back, just taking 30 seconds during the day in the middle of something to take that's the psychological and also like the literal step back. And the thing that's important to remember is that, these practices are not just about like calm and peacefulness, like that might be part of it. They're also about clearing the space to look at what's going on in the mind, in the body, and then turning some care and attention to that. Because when we don't pause, as you know, like the stress and the thoughts and all of that builds up. When we're like, go, 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 it can drain our energy. So with these pauses, like I said in the beginning, it's giving you energy for the things that are important to you, that you want to do. So, it's this practice of living with the challenges and the stress like in a new way, rather than being bowled over by these big waves that come at you. And it's a habit, and it starts with doing practices like this, maybe a 1-minute check-in, or doing something like this using a recording, or sitting on your own for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then when you do that, you start to notice the frequent visitors. You start to notice the feeling in the body of tension. And you can even ask yourself, oh, what is this tension in the shoulders about? And wait for an answer like you did in that practice. You see like, oh, this is my frustration about that call that I had yesterday, or this is my frustration about, like not getting that information that I needed, or having all these things to do. So you notice the thoughts, that come and go, and then you can create that space to either just sit and let them go and just sit and give yourself the stillness, or also to look at them. If you have a little sense of stillness, to look at them and like, all right, let me widen the lens to see it. And over time, and maybe sometimes sooner than later, sometimes later, then you can bring that perspective into, like everyday situations, like whether it be, like the unexpected flat tire and nobody can come and pick you up to help you, or it can be like the Thanksgiving dinner conversation where somebody says something and you just feel yourself boiling, and then it can work in two ways. It might work in the way that you lash out at that person and you just like can't believe, this conversation, and you lose it, you get heated. But that's fine, because then you can bring in the mindfulness afterwards. That's a mindfulness practice when you notice that you lost it, and then you look for a way to do it differently next time. And if you start with this practice of sitting still, meditating on your own, what happens in time, and sometimes it's not that long of a time, a couple of weeks, then when you're in the situation, you notice when you're starting to feel heated, and then you bring yourself down by coming down to by noticing what's going on in the mind, but having a pause, by noticing the physical sensation or noticing the thoughts, and then taking a step back by breathing, by feeling your feet on the ground, or even taking like the literal step back. Over the years, in groups that I worked with over Thanksgiving, people would always talk about their strategies for Thanksgiving dinner. One of them, this actually came from teenagers, would be to just like take a couple minutes to step away from the table and go to the bathroom, to not even go to the bathroom, but just, I need 5 minutes away from everyone. If there's no other place in the house, to take a pause from that volatile situation, or that like uncomfortable, that you don't want to sit in the middle of it. So sometimes it's actually that physical thing. And then related to that, for upcoming holidays and things like that, it's like giving yourself a little pre-game preparation, before somebody goes, a pianist to perform, hopefully they're off to the side and they're collecting themselves before they go out on stage so they can put in their best performance. The same thing with athletes, they're getting in the frame of mind. So maybe you might need to get in the frame of mind, especially this year. It might be one of the first times you're in a group of like 20 people, so give yourself that time beforehand to get in that frame of mind, to do what you need to do to center yourself, to move into the situation in a way that is going to, be beneficial for you and beneficial for the people around you. Yeah, there's so much this time of year. We could have like a whole session on this, because I know that it's for a lot of people, it's like a happy time, and for other people, it's more challenging due to a lot of different, factors, both family and professional. So I want to just name that it's a time of possible that can hold a lot of joy and like connection, but can also bring up difficult feelings. Yeah, and I think we're coming close to the time. And like I said, I don't want to turn it into a 1 hour group, but it gives you some things to go on and to think about as we move into the last 6 weeks of 2021.
Well, thank you for this, and thank you always, Mick, for just kind of being a steady hand of guidance as in kind of just entrepreneurship and life and all of that in general. So with that, I just like to again thank both Mick and Lori for being here, and with bringing on this programming that's super important to LawBank and to the solo and small law firm community that LawBank serves. We really do think that you make time for your wellness or you make time for your illness, and that choice is entirely up to you. These small meditation practices are incredibly helpful in keeping small business owners, small law firm owners a little bit sane, a little more sane during the holiday time. So we will be back in December. And I just wanted to again thank and acknowledge both Mick and Lori for their time and their effort in bringing these programs to our community. Mick or Lori, anything else to say?
Wishing everyone a wonderful peaceful and Zen-like Thanksgiving with all these great tips. Thank you, Mick, and thank you, Miranda.
Totally. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Lori.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
See you next month.
Thanks.